Hi everyone, it's Naomi, and today I want to do something a little bit different with you. So instead of taking you through a yoga practice, what I actually want to do is show you how you can do yoga at home without having to get any fancy props or invest in any of the fancy stuff that you might usually see at a yoga studio. You can do yoga with totally ordinary props that you have in your own home. Okay, and I'm doing this because what I hear a lot from people who watch this channel is, I really like doing yoga, but then there are times when you need us to use a block or a blanket or a strap, and I don't have any of that, and so I feel like I have to stop. And what do I do if I don't have those props? And the truth is as awesome as these props are, these fancy blocks and the blankets and the belts, as awesome as they are, you don't really need them, right? You can get creative with things that you have in your own home right now that are just as easy to use, way more convenient, and maybe even more effective. So that's what I want to show you how to do today. And the cool thing is that what it does is it makes yoga a little bit more transportable for you. You can really take it anywhere and you don't have to travel with as much. So that's also a really big benefit. Now I will say one thing before we get started. If there is any prop that you are going to invest legit money in, I would invest in a really good yoga mat. Okay, like if you are getting serious about yoga, if you're committed to yoga, get your own yoga mat. Especially if you're going to a yoga studio, you don't really want to use other people's mats. Other people have had their feet on, their hands on, and spit on and sweat on and licked. Maybe, who knows what people do? I mean, people do weird stuff sometimes. So, but also, if you're going to be doing yoga more often, it's kind of nice to have a yoga mat at home that you can use, that you can, do your downward facing dog on every single day and know that this is going to be your mat, right? This is going to be, the mat that will support you always, right? And you want to get one that's going to last. So make sure to get a good mat that lasts a long time. But other than that, you don't really need the fancy props, and I'm going to show you how and why. So first things first, the yoga block. Now I like my yoga blocks. They're pretty, they're pink, they're fun, they're sassy, they're very lightweight, they're really easy to use. I can fit them in my hands. They're super convenient. Okay, I love them, and I use them a lot. And I use them in poses sometimes, like Uttanasana, forward bend. If my hammies are feeling tight, and I want to bring the floor to me, right? And it just feels like it's too far of the floor. You can use them in poses like triangle, right? To bring the floor to you, or side angle. There's so many poses that you can use blocks in. You can use them in any forward bend, any standing forward bend. But we also tend to use them in a lot of seated poses and supine poses. So you might use them in poses like Virasana or Hero's Pose to sit on. You might use them in bridge pose, right, as a way to prop yourself up. Supported bridge that goes right underneath your sacrum, nice and steady. It's fantastic. So you might use them here, and you might use them in other ways to support you, maybe even underneath your knees when you lie on your back. Okay, so lots of ways that you might get up close and personal with your yoga blocks on a regular basis, even doing abdominal work. Okay, so another really good one, block between your feet. You might do this stuff. Oh yeah, I'm working my abs with my yoga block, and this is wonderful. And it is. Yoga block is great, but it's not the only way. Okay, so my personal favorite way, if I don't have yoga blocks, reusable water bottles. So I have tons of these. Okay, within my family, we have at least 6 in constant rotation because we're always taking our reusable water bottles pretty much everywhere. So I have extras lying around too. So when my yoga blocks aren't convenient, I can just use my water bottles to reach for the floor. These are particularly good if your hamstrings are tighter, if you're tired, because they have these handles, so you can hold onto the handles, super convenient. You could do the same thing in triangle pose, right? So I can just hold onto this handle and reach up. I can use them in that same Parsvottanasana or pyramid pose, that forward bend over my front leg. And I can use them in any standing pose, really, to bring the floor more to me, right? That's what these are really good for, okay, is to bring the floor up, right? So I have something to hold on to. You know, even in a back bend like camel pose, if I can't quite get to my feet, check it out. I've got these. I just swing them back behind me. Awesome. Okay? However, as phenomenal as water bottles are for swapping out for your blocks, they don't work for everything, right? Like you can't really put your sacrum on that. You can't really sit on them really well. So for the poses that you need to sit on a block, you can get books. These happen to be Wizard of Oz books. We are reading the Wizard of Oz to my daughter right now. My parents read the Wizard of Oz to me when I was little, so we're continuing the tradition. And you want to get books, much like the water bottles are about the same size as the, or the same height rather. I'll just show really quickly. The water bottle, the block, they're about the same height. You want to try to find similar width. Right, so you can see if I stack these on top, these ones are a little bit more narrow than your average block if I stack them on top. So you could potentially find something wider. This is just what I happen to have on my bookshelf in this room, but they work really well if I want to sit on them because they are just about the right width. So check that business out. Ooh, that's nice. Right, just sitting up on, you can't really see because my shirt's going over them, but just sitting up on these props, or these books rather. You can also use this underneath your sacrum in a pose like bridge pose. So, you can swap them in really well. They're not quite as hard as the blocks, but they work in the exact same way. And as a bonus, lift up, I slide them underneath my sacrum, just like I would in bridge. Oh yeah, that's so nice. It's the exact same thing. And they're adjustable, more so than the blocks. So if I want this to be a little higher, I could add another book if I had it handy. If I want it to be lower, I can take a few out and say, oh yeah, that's way better. Oh my goodness, I love that so much more. Okay, so these work really well for that. A little bit later, I'll show you how you can use these in a restorative with some of the other props we have back here. But you can also use them in your seated poses. You do want them to be the same height, but if you have funky knee, you can prop up your thigh with these books, right? If you're doing Janu Shirshasana, forward bend, anything like that, or in Baddha Konasana, bound angle, same deal, just put those books underneath your knees, right? Prop up your knees. So these books work really, really well for using them in the same way that you would for blocks if you're using the block for stability. Okay, and what I mean by stability is if you're putting body weight on them, like if you're sitting on them, if you're putting your back on them, that sort of thing. They work a lot better for that. Okay, so those are books. Now, if you're doing something else like that abdominal work, check out this cool truck. This is my son's truck. Okay, it's awesome. It's really lightweight. Right, I can toss it around. It's fantastic. I can also use it for abdominal work between my feet, for real. Okay, so check it. You're gonna love this. Okay, so kids' toys work really well for this. Like balls work really well for this. Like, so I have some of those too, you know, that I use for my kids. You know, so like a big heavy Tonka truck, maybe not so much, but this is made out of recyclable plastic, so this works really well. The water bottles work pretty well too. Okay, so if I'm on my back, I put truck between my feet. I lower the truck down. Ooh, that's exciting. I lift back up, reach. Put it between my feet again. Whee! Lower down. See? So the truck works just as well. Whoa. As the block. And it's kind of fun, right? If you have this truck as part of your practice, but really you could use pretty much anything in that place, anything that you can hold between your feet that's relatively lightweight and about the same width as the block. Okay, so truck, water bottles, books, really great for modifying in your practice if you don't have yoga blocks. Now another thing that comes up is the yoga belt or strap. I love the yoga strap. It's really great for using on your foot in supine poses. right? Like you can use the belt to extend your leg, take it out to the side, take it across, all of that good stuff. You can also use it standing in the same way, right? If your foot here, okay, take it out to the side. Okay, lots of ways to use the belt. You can also use the belt for overhead, stretching your shoulders, just giving yourself a little bit more shoulder mobility, or stretching from side to side. And some people use it for poses like Gomukhasana, which is that funky arm position one. I'll show without the belt, where your arms reach behind your back. And you can use the belt, you just drop it behind your back and reach up. Okay, so a lot of ways to use the belt. There are also more advanced ways to use the belt, like, if you're doing more advanced poses, I'll give you some ideas about that too, but those are sort of basic ways to use the belt. Now, if you have an actual belt that's not a yoga belt, that's like your first stop, right? So this is a belt off of a jacket that I no longer own. It's not as long as the yoga belt, which is totally fine, but it works really well. So if I'm on my back, I can lasso my foot, press up, take it out to the side, take it across. Like I can do fun core stuff too with it. Whee! Right? Because it's nice and taut. It's used to be used like a belt, so it works in exactly the same way. If you have, like a belt, any belt that you would wear around your waist, a tie works really well, a scarf, anything that you don't mind putting your feet on. I've also used things like, this is just like a little, I don't even know what to call it, but it's like a, something that I put my arms in, like a shrug, sort of, that I just use for yoga. Check it out, y'all. I can use it here too. Okay, now again, this is kind of like, I don't want to stretch it too much, so it's something that I would only use if I felt really confident using it. And obviously, anything that you don't mind putting your feet on is really what we're after. But this belt works really well for that, and you can use just any regular belt, that's nice and long. That'll work that way. But there are other cool things that you can use, like this awesome pearl necklace that I borrowed from my daughter. So if you happen to have a necklace and you're doing Gomukhasana, just drop the necklace behind your back, grab onto the necklace. Oh, that's kind of nice. That works out really well. See, it's kind of perfect, And it's nice and short, so for things like Gomukhasana where you don't need quite as much belt, the necklace works really well. Okay, it also might work really well if you're a little bit more mobile in your shoulders and you're working on poses like a dancer pose. Okay, this is just for fun right now, right? But you have the necklace around your foot, right? Dancer pose right there. You just hold on to the necklace. Again, I'm using this kind of like, it's costume jewelry, right? It's something that my kid plays with that she wears. We have tons of these. Like, don't use your granny's pearls. Don't use family heirlooms, obviously. But, something like this that's, got a lot of tension, it's going to work really well, in particular for a pose like Gomukhasana where you can't quite reach your hands, okay? So pearl necklace, belt, really great ways to modify if you don't have a yoga strap. But you can also, if you want to get adventurous, you got a broom, you can do shoulder work. Right? I can do all kinds of stuff here. Now, the broom is a little bit stiffer, so it might not let me go quite as far, but it works just as well. And it's pretty awesome. Okay, I love using the broom for things like this. You can also use this for seated poses. So if you're, doing like seated core work, you want to reach forward, right? Like the broom works really well. You can even hook it over your foot. Bonus. Okay, so the broom is really great for modifying for your belt in situations like that where you have the belt over your head. So you can use the broom in that way as well. Okay, so remember you've got your broom, your costume jewelry, and any old belt that you might have used, and that really modifies well for a yoga strap. Don't pay any money on a yoga strap. You already have whatever you need at home. Okay, now the last thing that I want to talk about is the yoga blanket. Now, I do love me a yoga blanket. They're fantastic. Really, like, I love these Mexican cotton blankets. They're the right stiffness, like they're thick, they're sturdy, they're really supportive. But you don't really need to get one, okay? There are a lot of ways to use blankets. The way that we tend to use blankets are to sit on, right? So in seated poses, like in a cross-legged seat at the beginning, okay, like you usually use a blanket. You might use it to prop your knee up. So if your knees are sensitive, in a pose like camel pose, right? Knees are sensitive, or in a lunge, right? You don't want your knee on the floor, you would use a blanket, okay? And you might use a blanket in a lot of other situations too. Those are the primary ones, or you might use it in a restorative pose, right? So you might have the blanket on the floor, and you lie back, and you're supported, right? Imagine there are blocks underneath my knees. Don't imagine. Don't use your imagination. I can actually create that. I have them. Okay, so restorative, basic restorative pose, okay? This is what we tend to use blankets for. So blankets are really fantastic. The yoga blankets are really fantastic. Blocks are fantastic. But you don't need them, okay? You can use all kinds of things. So if you need something underneath your knee, these are my husband's, like, they're the shorts that he sleeps in and sometimes goes running in. I grabbed them off our bed. They're great if I want to do a lunge. Okay, my knee is totally supported, right? If I want a little bit more cushion, I can grab a towel. So it's a nice bright beach towel. I can fold it up. It gives me a little bit more cushion for camel pose. Okay, so here I am in camel. It's wonderful. There's that lunge again. It's really great. My knee is happy. Okay? You can also use this same blanket to sit on. So in any seated pose where you find that your low back is like rounding back and in and it's really uncomfortable, you just sit on a little bit of a blanket, and that'll help lift your low back in and up. So now you're nice and supported. It's wonderful. Okay, so really, really easy to modify there. Now, if you're doing things like restorative poses at home and you don't have everything you need, right? You don't have like all of the props. You can use your towels, okay? And you can use them a lot of different ways. Now, like a lot of times we'll do something like a rolled blanket underneath the knees to support your low back. Okay, that might not be enough, okay? So what you can do is you can take your books, for example. You can take like 3 books, just because I don't have anything bigger. And put this towel over them, and then you've got something underneath your knees. Yeah, I mean, that totally works. Okay, you can also get these books out of the way for the moment. You could also, and these are a little bit high, this is a little bit more than I might do. But same idea. You put those underneath your knees. Lie back. Oh yeah, that actually feels kind of fantastic because it's exactly the right height. Okay, so this feels really good just for supporting my knees. My feet are on the ground. The top of the bottle isn't really digging into the back of my knee because I have the blanket over them. So that's also pretty awesome. Okay, but if you want to do something like a more extensive restorative pose, like Supta Baddha Konasana, that's the one that I showed before we did this. You're going to take more than one. So I have 2 blankets, and this, or 2 towels rather, and this one's a little bit sturdier. Okay, and I'm going to unfold it once, just like I would. And then I'm going to fold it back a little bit so there's slightly more support at the top. This, a little bit more support for my head. And then I take my books, put them underneath my knees, and I would, in general, want more books than this. But this will do for now. You get the general idea. My head is supported, my back is supported, my knees are supported. And not a yoga prop, a traditional yoga prop, being used at all. Books, towels, even water bottles here, right? Like I could just give myself a little bit more height, get the water bottles under there too. Not bad. Not bad for yoga props, right? Not bad for non-yoga props, right? Things that you might use in your ordinary everyday life. So, hopefully, this has given you an idea of how you can get really creative at home and not spend any extra money on yoga props that you don't need, and instead make use of what you already have and enjoy your yoga practice and not, feel like yoga is putting you completely into debt, at least through props, maybe through other things, but not through yoga props. So have fun getting creative with whatever you have at home. I would love to see what you've created. I would love to see it. So you can always, tag, tag me on Instagram at Conscious Healthy Mama and, use the hashtag unconventional yoga prop. And let me know what you've done. I would love to see your really creative yoga props that don't look like these. I would love to hear what you think about this video. Any ideas that you might have, share them in the comments below, as always. And if you want to see more videos like this, whether they are tutorials or anything explaining how to do yoga or yoga practices, don't forget to hit the subscribe button in the bottom right corner of this video so that you can get more videos like this delivered to your inbox every single Monday when I drop a brand new yoga practice every week. So I hope this has been useful, and I can't wait to see what you come up with, and I will see you again really soon on the mat. Bye.